Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I actually have a new medium, which is tea and coffee that I'm using today for my bullet journal, and I'm really excited for you guys to see how this turned out. There were some difficulties with this new medium, but I still think it turned out pretty good and I'm excited for you guys to see it. So let's just get into it. Hey, hello and welcome to my November plan with me. I'm super excited to show you guys this theme because while it may not have turned out perfectly perfect, I'm really happy to be using a new kind of medium. I'm using tea and coffee today. As you can see, I'm using some coffee and I put my paintbrush in it and I can just write in coffee. It's really cool. So how I basically did this is I used some instant coffee and I just put some hot water in it. I mixed it around and it basically kind of turned into a little bit of a paint and you can just write with it. It's like using kind of paint, except it's more of a natural paint because it's coffee, and it's actually really fun to do. I really enjoyed trying out coffee and trying it out. I'm hopefully going to make another video where I'm trying out coffee and tea because I filmed that, but I might not edit it really fast, so I'll see when it actually comes out. But I really enjoyed trying out this coffee, and I actually left it out a few days and it ended up drying out, which was actually useful because then it became more of a like dry watercolor, and I just use the little teapot I have there that I actually put water in. So it's kind of like my, you know how when you're using paints you like use like water to like make sure your paints don't mix and stuff. So I just put that in a teapot, which I thought was really cute because it kind of related to the theme as well, which is kind of like tea and coffee, kind of like a mix of both, because I did use tea and coffee there, because if you see that little teapot right there with the blue, it's actually using tea, and the tea is actually a pink tea. It's called Magic Spice, and I got it at a tea place in Manhattan, and the guy said it was a red color, and when I brewed it, it was a red color, and I was like, okay, maybe it'll be pink. And then when I was trying it out, it ended up being blue, and it's like, what? This pink or like red tea is blue. It was very surprising, but it's also kind of cool to have like a blue color, and it's funny because if you see in the time lapse, maybe you'll see it be pink at first, then it kind of turns purple and like fades to blue as it dries, which is really interesting, and I wonder what causes it to do that, because I used this on two different types of paper, because when I was originally doing it, I did it in my sketchbook for art class, which ended up, I think that I liked it more in the sketchbook because my sketchbook, or the coffee in general, because the sketchbook was very warm toned and you could see the pages weren't very just plain white. You could see like the, I guess, like the warmness to the page, unlike my bullet journal, which is very like white. So I thought that it kind of like, maybe it goes nicer with like more warmer pages, but I'm still really happy with this. And so now I just painted using the tea. I painted a little coffee pot because I wanted to have the coffee pot pouring out some tea that looked kind of like it was an ocean or float into like a big body of water. And I decided I wanted some little sailboats inside of the water, which I thought would be fun. I actually have done a sailboat theme before. I don't think I've actually ever posted about it or shown it online, but I did it before I started YouTube, and I did it with kind of newspaper and blue colors like that, and I'm really happy with how that theme turned out. So it wasn't completely inspired by that because I did do something very different, but similar to then, I am experimenting with a very new medium here. I'm using kind of like coffee and themes, and like coffee and tea and like drinks that I usually just do like markers, and recently I've been doing paint markers and paint and watercolor in general like that. But definitely let me know down below any other materials I can use, because I feel like it's so fun to experiment with new materials that I haven't tried before, because you can figure out which ones you like more, which is like with the paint markers, because I didn't know that I would like that. And tea and coffee and stuff, I didn't think I'd like. I mean, I didn't know. I thought it'd be cool, but I actually don't drink coffee, which is kind of funny, because if I have caffeine, I just stay up all night, and it's not a great feeling. So yeah, I'm just using the coffee now to paint on top of the little cutout sailboats in tape, so that when I peel it off, the sailboats will be just like color of the page, so it'll just be white and not the tea color, or not the coffee color. So I think that's pretty cool. It wasn't that hard to cut out the sailboats, because I have this washi tape. I just cut it in half, or like cut it so it'd be a triangle, and then cut a little round circle, and just cut a really thin strip, and there's a little sailboat. It's really not that challenging. Unlike some other things I feel like have been more challenging. Like in September, I decided to do some letters, but I think letters are pretty complicated to cut out, because I think I could have maybe done it more efficiently back then, but I guess like letters just seem kind of complicated to cut out compared to like these. It's very basic shapes, so it's pretty easy to cut out. And now I'm just using my Arteza felt tip marker in this color blue. I don't know exactly the color code. Wait one sec, I'll go get it. Okay, so it is a blue color in the color A103, which I think went pretty well with the like color of the tea, as well as I wanted to make, I know a lot of like teacups and just like pottery in general has a lot of like this blue color design on it, and I thought that would be really fun to try and draw as well. I think that I could have done a better job of this, and I think if I did this theme again, there was some things that I would change and make better, and now that I know how it works, I would be able to maybe do it better. But I also feel pretty happy with this theme. It was a bit of a challenge, not my favorite theme I've ever done, but also like I did try a lot of new things in this theme, so I think that it's fair for it to not be the best thing I've ever made. Okay, so now on to the calendar. So I used my Pigma Micron in the size 0-8 to make the calendar, which I really enjoy using these markers, and they're really nice to doodle with, and I really just like how they are a very like just like bold line, but you can do it in different sizes, which will change obviously the thickness and stuff. But I just really like these pens. They're really high quality and really nice. I always feel pretty good about using them, and I find them actually really fun to doodle with. I don't know what it is about them, but they're just like super fun to doodle with, like this size, and just like it just feels very satisfying to like draw little things with them. Okay, and now I'm just using the washi tape to make a border around the calendar so I can paint on the outside of the calendar without getting it on the inside. And something I've been trying to do is not wasting as much washi tape when I do this. So I'm using this washi tape that I was using before, and I just put it on something so that I can just take it off later and use it again, which I would definitely recommend to anyone who's using washi tape the way that I'm doing, because then you can just waste less washi tape and you can use it later. But also, I want to warn you guys that to not do this too much, or like if you do it like a little bit too much or leave the washi tape on for too long, sometimes it will tear a little bit of the page. But just be cautious with that, and I think it works pretty well. So now I'm just using the coffee, and I'm doing a kind of striped pattern, which I think turned out well. I think that it wasn't the most creative thing I could have done in that space, and I feel like this bullet journal theme in general is more simple and simplistic. And you can kind of see on the top left, November is peeking through, even though that was on the other page, like the video and you can kind of see it. I did have this problem a lot in this theme. I think it's because I used tea and coffee, and these, I think as like a material, they kind of like seep through the paper and kind of like get dissolved by it, which is a problem that you do have to just deal with when you're using coffee and tea. So now I'm just writing November, and I'm being very careful to make it very neat, and I'm making it kind of like a typewriter font, which I really like. And another thing, if you, in the future, what I would have done to try and stop as much of the bleeding onto the other side, and it's not even like bleeding, it just kind of like, when I turn back to the other page, you'll see that the paint just like goes through it. Or like not even the paint, the tea just goes through it. So here I'm actually putting a lot of tea on there because I was scared that it wouldn't paint on it. But I think I had to be kind of more trusted and feel like it will paint on it, even if I don't put like a whole like bubble of like paint on, not bubble of tea on there, because then it ended up soaking through, and on the other side you saw the tea. So also, if you do too much, just like, or just if you do, if you want to use this, I would recommend having a tissue with you or a napkin and just dabbing it after you put it on there, because then it makes sure that it dries, and the paint still in general stays on there, it just dries it faster. And this can also help if it's like spreading or something, you can just do that and it will generally just like stop it from spreading and stop it right there. I guess if that makes sense, like the paint won't go any further than when you tap it when it's in that spot, I guess. So then I did the top left corner, I did a little bit of this T pattern, which I thought turned out pretty. I wish that I did more of, I think if I were to do this theme over, I'd make it more creative and do a more pattern that you commonly see on like tea cups and stuff like that on there in pottery, but I was having trouble thinking of how to do that, and a lot of them looked very complex and kind of overwhelming for me, so that's why I kind of kept it more simplistic with the blue and just using it as a background. But in the next part of the theme, you do see that I do add a pattern to one of the teacups, which I think looks nice. It's just something that I've liked to doodle a lot since I did this actually as the theme before, and if you've watched most of my videos, you probably will recognize this, maybe. So yeah, then you can see on the top there are little tiny teacups at the top of each day of the week. Okay, now we're looking back at this page, and as you can see, the dots on the calendar definitely came in onto the other side, which is sad, but kind of what can you do now? So I kind of just went with it. I added some more stripes on the teacup right there, so make it like more patterned rather than just like a solid blue, which ended up spraying the ink a little bit. And I added some dots on top of where the dots were from the calendar, which I now realize, seeing it on the filmed version, it does make it look more noticeable. And sorry about the shadows right now, they're going a little crazy. But I mean, this theme just isn't going to be perfect. I'm really sorry about that. And I just drew some little flowers with the coffee because I thought it made me pretty. I was really struggling here with feeling kind of proud of this theme and feeling like I was really happy with it. Looking back at it right now, I think it does look really pretty, but I just wanted it to be a little bit different and thought that it could be better, I guess. And I talked to my friend about what I should do for my like theme, or like what I should do to add to this to make it even better, and she recommended adding a little bit of steam on top of each of the little tea cups on top of the calendar, and I ended up doing that, and I think that did make it a little cuter. And I really enjoy just like talking to other people with ideas for bullet journal themes and how to make it better, especially when I'm feeling kind of stuck, and that's nice with like going to school more and splitting it up a little bit more of doing my bullet journal, even though this bullet journal I actually did like I think mostly in one sitting except for my weekly spread. So that's cool. I guess this theme while it may not be my favorite, it was more time effective, and I guess just painting in general sometimes is faster than using a paint marker because you're just using the paintbrush and you can make bigger strokes and stuff. So yes, now I'm taking each teacup and I'm drawing a little outline around it and putting or is it SMT? I think I started it on a Sunday, so yeah, you can just see like the little days of the week on there, and I'm adding the numbers to the calendar in general. So I think that it still looks pretty. I like the colors together. I think the theme in general looks pretty nice. It could be better. This isn't my best work. But if you guys have any ideas of how you guys think that I should have improved it, or if I were to recreate it or just do something similar again, or if I had a problem similar to this one, any tips on like how to improve my bullet journal, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below, because I can often feel stuck when I'm in the middle of doing my bullet journal and feeling like I just did a really bad job. But I still feel pretty happy about this theme. But also, I have a few ideas for December. Not really even, but I was wondering what you guys thought I should do for December this year, because the only really idea I have is maybe doing something with mountains, but I'm not really sure how I'd execute that, so I have to think about it a lot. But if you guys have any ideas, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. And because I'm really not sure what to do, and just in general, like mediums I could use for December or something like that, because I think it's really fun to experiment with new things, because even though I feel like especially last year I had the mindset that my bullet journal theme my bullet journaling wouldn't change that much since like the beginning of the year, or just in like wouldn't change that much, like because I thought it was really good, but then through using new mediums and just trying out new things, my bullet journaling has changed a lot, which is really fun and interesting to see, because I really thought that it wouldn't, and I had done as much as I could with good themes and good ideas, but I feel like my bullet journaling just keeps evolving. So now this is my habit tracker and my brain dump area. So on the right I have my habit tracker, on the left I have my brain dump or idea page, and I decided to just add like a little bit of a like on both sides is kind of like, how do you call this, like just a little thing on the top that the title will go on. And I actually used a little bit of washi tape so that I could make those little calendars, and the box could be the like thing that will have the title on it could be there, while also like the little calendar could be there as well. And I think that this habit tracker will be really useful, and I'm going to try and use it a lot more this month. Not exactly the way that I have used it before, but the way that a lot of people use it in general, because I think I want to be able to track things like maybe every day I should study for Mandarin or stuff like that, because that will be helpful for me, I think, and keeping track of like you have to study, because don't just study the day before or something like that. So now I am drawing the little teacup, and I'm using the Arteza pen or Arteza pen that I was using before, and I'm just drawing these little flowers. If you recognize them, they are from my April Planned With Me in 2019, which I didn't really have a YouTube channel in 2019, but you can see the video where I react to my Plan With Me from that month on my YouTube channel, which is fun. And I really enjoyed drawing these flowers now, and I definitely feel like I'm really happy with like how that theme turned out back then, and how it helped me like kind of understand how to draw flowers better. And it's just a doodle I like to do now. So I used coffee, and I made this a darker. I used like a more concentrated amount of coffee, so I could draw on top of the other coffee that was there, and I drew ideas, and I think it looks good. You can clearly see the calendar like dots on there, which is sad, but I mean, I really can't do anything about it now, so I just have to deal with it, I guess. And now I'm just writing habits, and I'm trying to do it in a calligraphy font, or like and it turned out pretty good with the paintbrush. I think it could be more perfect, but I think using this medium of like coffee and a paintbrush, I have to be kind of just a little bit more like relaxed on, oh, it won't be perfect, and it's just gonna look cool and natural and organic, because these materials are very organic in general. And I really hope you enjoy this, like, new, like, trying new things, and I really hope you enjoy, like, seeing my, I guess, evolution of my bullet journaling, because I think it is really big if you look back at my other videos from before. Also, I'd love to hear in the comments what your themes for November are, and like any bullet journaling things that you've done that have really revolutionized your bullet journaling, and just things, or like journaling or your life, and any study tips. I know that I need some study tips because I feel like I often procrastinate, but I think using my bullet journal and using the habit tracker will help me in this new way, will help me with my studying and being productive. So now, like I said, my friend told me I should do a little bit of like steam coming out of each of these coffee cups or teacups, and I think it looks really pretty. I think it looks cute. It makes them look like little tiny little steaming teas, which I think is really adorable. And yeah, now I am just finishing up my habit tracker. I think I forgot one line in there, and I'm doing my weekly spreads now. I actually did 2 weekly spreads today. I did one using coffee, and then the other using the tea, which I think is fun, and just kind of like, okay, I don't know, like one of them, because I did use these 2 mediums throughout my bullet journal. It would be nice to have them in there, represented both of them, because it's kind of, I haven't really mixed them that much, I don't think, in this. What should be interesting to do is like trying to mix them and see how that turns out. And I'm just using the washi tape to make a little box down the middle of my bullet journal, which I think is, it's just a weekly spread that I've been doing a lot recently, where it's just you put a line down the middle and just color that in, and on both sides you can just do a rolling weekly spread, which is helpful, and it's really simple. But I've actually been using AmandaRachLee's weekly spread that I made on Twitch with her, and I've actually been really enjoying using that bullet journal weekly spread, because I feel like it just allows me to feel more free and a little bit less like everything's all in one spot. But I think I may continue to use this just because it's so simple to make, but maybe in the future I will start making bullet journal like weekly spreads that are more complex and take up more space, so that I can feel a little bit more free to like use more space and less squished in my bullet journal, if that makes any sense. Because I do often use these weekly spreads, actually maybe for multiple weeks, just because it's rolling, so I can use them for however long it takes, and which is nice, but it also kind of does make it feel a little bit condensed, and like you need to squish things and cram things, which it might be nice to have. It's just nice to have a little bit more free space. So also, if you guys have any weekly spread ideas, like tell me them in the comments down below. I'd love to try them out. And yeah, on the left I did the coffee, and I used the little sailboats. I used the same washi tape of the sailboats that I had done before, just to make the little sailboats in there, and I added a little, like, I guess, curve in there, so it kind of like, I don't know, maybe it adds like the idea of it's like in water or something. I just thought it was fun in general. And on the right I used the tea, and I'm just using my Arteza marker pen to just draw some lines and just make some decorative designs on there as well, because it is hard to layer the tea without it like bleeding through, and just like I think tea is just a little bit of a harder medium to use than coffee. But my bullet journal is now going to smell so good, which is kind of fun. And I just drew some flowers at the top, which I think this weekly spreads are really nice and simple, and I can always smell them now, and they will smell like magic spice, which is a kind of like fall apple fruit smell, and the left is just like a coffee smell. And that's my November plan with me. And thank you so much for watching this video all the way through. I really hope you enjoyed seeing the process of making this, and like enjoyed hearing about my experience with like using these new mediums. If you have any other ideas, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. And thank you so much for watching. Bye! Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know down below some new mediums I should try out, because I'd love to try out some different things, because this was like something really new for me to try out. And also, please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and consider subscribing. It means a lot when you guys subscribe and comment down below. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!